Deshaun Watson wanting out of Houston, saying he should just do his job because he makes a lot of money.
Yeah, that was a bad quote.
Yeah. Deshaun's agent slammed Favre for his opinion, tweeting, Brett should probably stop throwing stones from that glass house he's sitting in.
Thank you.
He is, Brett Favre, estimated to be worth around $100 million. Yet is giving his opinion. It's kind of ironic. But we talked a little bit about this yesterday, and you talked about it at the beginning of the show. I'm very old school myself. Like, I think I'm an old school person.
Yeah.
But Brett Favre did his own version of this. Like, he didn't force his way out of anything or ask for a trade, but everybody asserts their power and leverage whenever they have the opportunity to. That's part of being great at something. You then get into a position to make decisions for your career. Now, obviously, he signed a contract, but it's overwhelming support for Deshaun Watson. What do you expect him to do? This is a situation that is dysfunctional. You have a pastor running the organization.
You know what it is? A lot of this is, let's be totally honest about this. Most people don't have options in life or leverage, and they resent people who use theirs.
Yes.
That's what this is down to. This is most people don't have options in life. They're clinging on to the job they have. So when you have somebody that's really, really talented, there's a little bit, I see it among men all the time. I won't speak for women, but there's this resentment. If you had options, you know, what's the old saying Chris Rock used to say, the comedian?
You're only as loyal as your options.
You're only as loyal as your options. And most people don't have any. So, I would be loyal. Oh, God, give me...
Loyal to what? What is even the concept of loyalty in the professional space? There's too much of a blurred line when it comes to that word. Don't just toss that word out. Loyalty in a relationship, great. Loyalty to family, great. Loyalty to friends, great. Loyalty to hard work, great. Loyalty to a corporation that can cut you or trade you or maneuver their way out of a contract anytime they want to? What are you talking about? Loyalty as a fan is great. This is Deshaun Watson's job. And on top of it being his job, it is his career. And on top of that, he has a legacy to be concerned about, because you and I and all of you fans are going to talk about what he did with his career at the end of it.
Yeah.
He has every right to get out of this dysfunctional situation. He is great. Also, don't you want to see him thrive?
Years ago, this was about 20 years ago. Almost actually 20 years ago, 18, 19 years ago. I sat down with a radio executive. This is a true story. Opposed to my ones I make up. True story. Sat down. Name was Tom Baker. Nice guy. And he's saying, I got an offer to leave to a radio station. Colin, loyalty is key with me. Loyalty is everything. Loyalty. 2 days later, he took a job with Entercom in Boston.
Oh.
You know what he also said one time? Want to hear a funny story? Only lasts a minute. I went for a raise one time. Tom was a funny guy. Very funny guy. He goes, Colin, you make too much. Can't afford another nickel. We'll have to turn the lights off at the radio station. I was asking for $38,000. They paid me $35,000. He said, we'll turn the lights off if I have to give you another penny. And I said, the guys across the street offered me $50. He goes, okay, $60 and not a penny more.
Isn't it funny what leverage does for you?
It's amazing.
It is. It is. And Deshaun Watson has a no-trade clause, so he does have leverage in this situation. He has enough money to sit out for a year and not... He can make this very ugly if he wants to. I hope that it doesn't. And I hope that the Texans wake up and realize the situation that they have put themselves in. Deshaun Watson did on the field, and for that matter, off the field, what he was supposed to do, and you have not delivered. At this point, it's just best for everyone to go their separate ways. So Tom Brady is proving he can win without Bill Belichick. While the Patriots struggled in their first season in 2 decades without him, Albert Breer asked some expatriates if they believe the two are keeping tabs on each other since the divorce. And former New England linebacker Ted Johnson thinks they absolutely do. He said, I think Brady's scratching an itch he's had for a while, and it's so very important for both of these guys. Neither of them will say it directly. I think they are obsessed with trying to prove the other wrong right now, and I think you're seeing it with Tom. He'll never say it. Bill will never say it, but I think they're obsessed in their pursuit of proving they can win without each other.
It's just very human. Listen, if you get divorced and she marries George Clooney, you don't want to get fired and live in a car. Like, we're all competing here. We all have egos. We're all human. Outside of Andrew Luck, everybody in America has an ego.
Yes, it's ego, it's human nature.
Protection.
At some point, it does become toxic to hold on to those kind of feelings.
Yes.
But
they're real.
They're real, and you're talking about two of the most competitive people on planet Earth in one of the most competitive businesses in existence.
Here's what bothers me about it, though. I think Brady always appreciated Bill. Always.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't believe at the end the Patriots always appreciated Tom. That's why I'm rooting for Tom. There's not a day that I think Tom at the end got frustrated with lack of weapons. I think every day was there. Tom totally understood. I'm not winning these things without Bill. But when the stories started to leak out, Joy, in the last 2 years, they thought they could win these things with somebody else. That's why it becomes very much to me, I am pro-Brady on this. You were both valuable to each other, but don't kid yourself. Brady was more important. 70-30, 65-35, whatever. He was more important.
Two things can be true. You had an amazing time together, built an unbelievable dynasty, won a ton of championships, and probably what the Patriots did won't be duplicated again.
It won't.
There was just too many things that had to work and come into place, and lack of egos and the perfect amount of ego and leadership and everything. That was the perfect concoction for that legacy to exist, specifically in this sport where there's not a lot of movements and there's salary cap and all of that. But I'm with you. Like, at the end of the day, the guys in the field are the ones doing it. You can draw up the perfect game plan. If the players don't perform at the level that they need to, you're going to lose that.
Now, there does become, if it's so dysfunctional, like even Deshaun Watson can't win. He won a bunch in Houston, but at the end, he couldn't win. And there are quarterbacks that can be great, but I mean, like Phillip Rivers had years in San Diego 10 years ago. The O-line was so bad. So, I mean, you have to harmonize it. But the quarterbacks are more important than the coach. Even as much as I love Andy Reid, Andy makes the playoffs. He doesn't not only win Super Bowls, but like decimate teams without Mahomes.
But I don't think that's a knock. I think on Bill Belichick. I think it's just an obvious fact.
But it is a knock that they started leaking stuff that they didn't need Brady.
I'm with you. I agree with that.
That stuff was nonsense. And that, you know, the game, Joy, that gets out because somebody wants it out. And we know Brady didn't want it out.
Of course.
New England wanted that out there. We could win with a lot of people. So now I'm dancing on the grave a little. I'm kind of happy for it.
Well, we all got to be petty a little bit. Drew Brees hasn't officially retired yet, but the Saints are planning for the future. They brought in Jameis Winston on a one-year deal last season. And even though he's a free agent, Sean Payton is hoping to keep him around.
Him along with Taysom Hill, who's in the building. We've said it all along. You know, we're gonna develop and coach those guys, and Jameis is one of those guys that we have a big interest in.
Sean Payton anticipates an announcement from Drew Brees in the next week or week and a half. Well, makes sense that he would want to wait until after the Super Bowl to announce that he's retiring. I don't know. I don't know what the Saints are going to do moving forward.
You know what's funny? I am already putting, because I've made a commitment. I did pretty well on my predictions this year. I went 7 for 7 in the AFC. Mm-hmm. So every team I predicted would make the playoffs in the AFC, I went 7 for 7. Yes, I did predict the Steelers would be the last in, but I got that wrong, but they got in.
Right.
NFC, I was about 50-50, but I'm already kind of, here's 3 things or 4 things I know to be true already with my predictions. The Eagles will be in last because of their coaching hire and their quarterback mess. Houston Texans will be in last because of their coaching hire. Detroit will be in there last because they're rebuilding and their coaching hire. So those 3 I can tell you right now. Detroit's last, Philly's last, Houston's last. And Tampa Bay will win this division next year, the NFC South, because they may go in with a dual quarterback situation, and Atlanta and Carolina just don't have the rosters to compete against Tom Brady's second year with this. So I got my 4 predictions down, 3 last place and a first place.
I think you're right. Again, I don't hate the way that the Saints approached this season. You knew this was going to be Drew Brees' last season. Go all in. They're in cap hell right now, and obviously they're not entirely sure what they're going to do with Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. And they obviously, to Sean's point, they have Taysom Hill